पीपल एंड वेलकम टू शिफ्टिंग गियर्स। इंडियन मार्केट में काफी सारे कार मैन्युफैक्चरर्स जो हैं वो अपने कार की लॉन्च एनिवर्सरी सेलिब्रेट करते हैं विद अ स्पेशल एडिशन और विद अ स्टिकर जॉब, बट टाटा मोटर्स इज डूइंग इट राइट। Tata Motors is introducing the Altroz iTurbo to celebrate one successful year of this premium hatchback here in the Indian market. Now, why is it called iTurbo? Because इस गाड़ी में अभी आपको एक 1.2 लीटर turbocharged petrol engine मिल रही है। Now, is this car a hot hatchback or not? इस वीडियो में हम उसके बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। काफी लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे that this Altroz iTurbo will come out with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, but that has not happened just yet. This Altroz iTurbo, this turbo petrol variant of the Altroz is coming out with a 5-speed manual gearbox only. चलिए जान लेते हैं क्या है ऐसा खास इस गाड़ी में। It is with us with this new Harbor Blue paint scheme with a dual tone effect, so you can notice that the roof is painted in black. Looks quite good, and the Altroz was always a good looking hatchback. But is this car a hot hatchback? Is this going to quench your thirst for your need for speed? चलिए सभी कुछ इस वीडियो में जान लेते हैं। So do subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press the bell icon and let's get going.
एक्सटीरियर डिपार्टमेंट में इस टाटा एल्ट्रोज पे आपको ज़्यादा बदलाव देखने नहीं मिलेंगे। द कार नाउ गेट्स दिस न्यू हार्बर ब्लू पेंट स्कीम एंड इट लुक्स क्वाइट नाइस। ये हार्बर ब्लू कलर जो है वो बाकी वेरिएंट्स पे भी अवेलेबल होगा, लेकिन इस आई टर्बो वेरिएंट के साथ आपको एक ड्यूअल टोन ग्लॉस ब्लैक रूफ ऑप्शन भी दिया गया है। Apart from this, there is no sticker job or no decal on the side profile and that gives this car its clean look. लेकिन tailgate पे आपको एक iTurbo का बैज दिया गया है which is also small in size and looks quite classy. इंटीरियर्स की अगर बात करें तो आपको एक फ्लैट बॉटम स्टीयरिंग व्हील दिया गया है। It gets a leather wrap and the steering wheel is of the right size when you want to hold on to it. आपको अभी भी एक डिजिटल कम एनालॉग स्पीडोमीटर क्लस्टर दिया गया है जो काफ़ी आसान है रीड करने के लिए गाड़ी चलाते समय। डैशबोर्ड पे आपको ये सिल्वर फिनिश एप्लीक मिल जाता है एंड यू कैन नोटिस यू स्टिल हैव द फ्लोटिंग टच स्क्रीन इंफोटेनमेंट यूनिट एंड यू गेट 2 एडिशनल ट्वीटर्स इन द न्यू XZ Plus ट्रिम ऑफ दिस टाटा एल्ट्रोज iTurbo. डैशबोर्ड पे आपको ये एम्बियंट लाइट देखने मिलेगी एंड यू ऑल्सो गेट द एम्बियंट लाइट ऑन द फ्लोर कंसोल ऑफ दिस एल्ट्रोज। इसी के साथ साथ इस गाड़ी में आपको एक एक्सप्रेस कूल फंक्शन दिया गया है विच इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू कूल द कैबिन फास्टर। गियर कंसोल के पास आपको ये बटन दिया गया है टू टॉगल बिटवीन सिटी एंड स्पोर्ट ड्राइव मोड्स और ये आपको एक स्टैंडर्ड गियर सिलेक्टर दिया गया है फॉर द मैनुअल ट्रांसमिशन। इस गाड़ी के इंटीरियर कैबिन में अभी आपको लाइट ग्रे और ब्लैक ड्यूअल टोन थीम दी गई है and you finally get leatherette seat upholstery on this Altroz iTurbo and you get contrast stitching as well. सीट अपहोल्स्ट्री काफ़ी बढ़िया है, इट फील्स वेरी नाइस टू टच, इट फील्स वेरी प्रीमियम टू टच और इसकी वजह से आपका इन कैबिन एक्सपीरियंस जो है वो काफ़ी बेहतर होने वाला है एंड यू विल थिंक दैट दिस एल्ट्रोज नाउ इज अ प्रॉपर प्रीमियम हैचबैक।
So now I am behind the wheel of this 2021 Tata Altroz iTurbo, and as you can notice I have a stick shift, a manual gearbox only, 5-speed का manual transmission आपको इस गाड़ी के साथ मिलने वाला है। We did want an automatic, we did want a dual clutch automatic, but that is not what we get right now. अभी सबसे पहले स्पेसिफिकेशंस की बात कर लेते हैं। टाटा Altroz iTurbo के साथ एक 1.2 लीटर 3 सिलेंडर turbocharged पेट्रोल इंजन मिल रही है जो प्रोड्यूस करती है 110 PS of power and 140 Newton meters of torque, and this engine claims to deliver 18.13 kmpl of mileage. अब जो इसका नॉन turbocharged मॉडल है that claims 19.05 kmpl of mileage and that 1.2 liter motor produces 86 PS of power and 113 Newton meters of torque. तो अगर आपको सबसे पावरफुल Altroz मॉडल चाहिए, this Tata Altroz iTurbo is the most powerful because the diesel variant just pumps 90 PS. This has 110 PS, so this has 20 horsepower more to play around with. Now we are going to approach a tunnel. What I want you to notice is the ambient lights, क्योंकि इस गाड़ी में आपको वो भी अभी भी मिल रहा है। Right now I have with me the XZ Plus trim. This is the new top of the line variant for the Tata Altroz here in the Indian market. And just look at the ambient lights. You get it on the floor console and you also get it on this dashboard applique. Looks quite nice, and in this segment it is a very good looking hatchback on the outside and on the inside. But that is not the prime focus of this video, of our today's experience with this Tata Altroz, because this has the new, more punchy motor. So I am going to pull over to the shoulder right now, and then I am going to sprint from a standstill, and let's check out if this car has good enough acceleration to keep you, the driver, happy, to keep you, the enthusiast, happy. So let me pull over and I'm going to show you what extra feature this car has. जो स्टैंडर्ड टाटा एल्ट्रॉज मॉडल्स हैं उसमें आपको सिटी और इको ड्राइविंग मोड्स मिलते हैं. टाटा एल्ट्रॉज iTurbo मॉडल के साथ आपको सिटी और स्पोर्ट ड्राइव मोड्स मिल जाते हैं. नाउ द मोड सिलेक्टर हैज बीन पोजीशनड बिलो दिस गियर सिलेक्टर. तो यहाँ पे आप देख लीजिए जो बटन आपको दिया गया है. व्हेन यू प्रेस दिस, लिसन टू दिस केयरफुली.
Sport drive mode activated.
If you switch to city mode,
City drive mode activated.
but since we are checking out the acceleration, of course I'm going to switch to sport mode.
Sport drive mode activated.
Also इस गाड़ी में आपको इंजन स्टार्ट स्टॉप सिस्टम भी दिया गया है, एंड टू डिसएंगेज दैट आपको यहाँ पे टू द राइट हैंड साइड ऑफ द स्टीयरिंग व्हील एक बटन दिया गया है. सो नाउ ऑटो स्टार्ट स्टॉप इज डिसेबल्ड. स्लॉटिंग इट इन फर्स्ट गियर, and I'm going to give it a full pedal to the metal. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Not too much of wheel spin, and keep listening to the engine as well. I am in third gear and the Altroz iTurbo has touched over 135 kilometers per hour on the needle. And this is brisk performance. ये जो टाटा की Altroz है, it is not a light car. You obviously know that it is a 5-star rated safe car, and the body shell is not on the lighter side of the scale as per hatchback standards. And when you compare all of that, when you consider all of that with the competition and with the Altroz non-turbo variant as well, this Altroz turbo petrol, this Altroz iTurbo, it is quite an engaging car. I'm going to try this one more time. So I'm again going to pull over to the shoulder, and I'm going to, get the revs climbing, and then I'm going to just release the clutch, and let's check it out how this car sprints. So again, slowing down, pulling over to the shoulder. Sport mode is activated. Staying in sport mode, slotting it in first gear, and now getting the revs climbing. And in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Again, not a lot of wheel spin, very good traction from these tires. Engine doesn't rev over 6000 RPM, by the way. I am in third gear. Well over 130 kilometers per hour, very close to 140 kilometers per hour in third gear itself. And this Tata Altroz iTurbo, impressive for a turbo petrol premium hatchback here in the Indian market. And what I am happy to report is that the gearbox is nicely mated to the engine. क्योंकि इसके पहले जो टाटा मॉडल्स हमने चलाए हैं, when you drive them really hard, when you are closer to the red line, when there is a lot of load on the engine and on the transmission, the gearbox used to feel very notchy on those cars which I have driven before. On this one, no problems at all, especially when you switch from second to third, no notchiness, and I could do that very nicely, seamlessly, and without interrupting my progress when I want to drive it fast. तो ये एक अच्छी चीज है जब आप इस गाड़ी को तेज चलाना चाहते हो और जब आपको फास्ट पेस्ड गियर चेंजेस करने हैं ताकि आप अच्छा एक्सेलरेशन जो है वो अचीव कर पाओ. So I think Tata has done very good tuning, and when they took their own sweet time to bring this out to the market, I think Tata ने एक अच्छा काम किया है with this car and it should keep you happy. There are a lot of people right now who want a turbo petrol hatchback, a turbo petrol premium hatchback, but they also want a safe car. And if you want a safe car, this is the best bet that you have right now. It just has 2 airbags, but it is not just about airbags when you want to buy a car. The body shell is safe and that is critical, that is crucial. लेकिन जब आप एक टर्बो पेट्रोल गाड़ी खरीदते हो, it is not just outright acceleration that you are going to worry about all the time. आज मैं इस गाड़ी को 100 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा के लिए ऑलरेडी चला चुका हूं and the mileage figure that I can see on the trip computer is 16 kmpl. 16 kmpl. Now this includes a lot of city driving. It includes close to 50 kilometers of city driving inside Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, and you know the traffic situation on a Monday. So not a bad figure at all when you get combined fuel efficiency of 16 kmpl. Of course right now I am out on the Mumbai-Pune expressway और अभी mileage figure जो है वो बढ़ते ही जा रहा है because I am going to effortlessly cruise as well. If you are going to use the cruise control, it is very easy to operate, and when you set it, say for example at close to 80 kilometers per hour, right now the engine RPM is a little shy of 2000 RPM. So this is a very relaxed state of tune. और जब मैं इस तरीके से इस गाड़ी को चला लूँगा, engine noise जो है वो ज़्यादा cabin में नहीं आ रहा है, and this is going to be a comfortable place to be to munch miles. If you want to drive it a little faster, because the expressways now allow you to stay close to 100 kilometers per hour and maybe a little over that on some highways, I'm going to stick to 100 kilometers per hour, and in 5th gear at 100 kilometers per hour, the engine RPM is say close to 2500, a little shy of 2500 RPM, and even in this scenario, there is not too much of engine noise that is creeping inside the cabin, and you are still going to get reasonably good mileage as well from this Altroz iTurbo. Now I wish कि इस गाड़ी में आपको एक 6th गियर मिल जाता तो आपकी हाईवे माइल मंचिंग जो है वो और ज़्यादा effortless हो जाती. You would have gotten much more mileage, and that 6th gear would have just worked as a nice overdrive gear. But this 5-speed unit is not bad at all, especially when this car is supposed to be exciting. This is delivering on all fronts. Just check this out. If I want to overtake a car, I am in 5th gear. Let's check out the in-gear acceleration. As soon as I give the accelerator pedal a nice kick down, it does pick up pace fairly and quickly, and ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं होगा कि आपको 5th gear पे से downshift करने की ही ज़रूरत है. Of course, if you want to pick up pace much faster, if the other car is also picking up pace, then of course you can downshift and then overtake the other car much faster than you can in the 5th gear itself. But then जब आप हाईवे पे हो और अगर आप slow चला लेते हो गाड़ी, if the traffic situation demands you to slow down your speed, if the speed drops under 50 kilometers per hour in 5th gear, तभी आपको engine में से थोड़ा hesitation जो है वो महसूस होगा. You will feel that the engine is knocking and you will be able to hear it as well. ये एक 3-cylinder engine है, so it doesn't really like you driving this car in a higher gear at lower revs. So that is something that you have to keep in mind when you are driving around with this Altroz iTurbo. अब ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है that because this is a turbo petrol engine that you keep accelerating it hard and stay closer to the red line at all times. You can keep upshifting close to 2000 RPM or a little over 2000 RPM, and the engine will be happy, the transmission will be happy, and you will have no problems driving this car even in city limits. So you can stay in sport mode or city mode and the progress is going to be linear. ज़्यादा sharp throttle input आपको महसूस नहीं होने वाला है. Of course you know what the driving modes are going to do. जब आप city mode select कर लेते हो, your throttle input is going to be a little mellowed down, not completely boring like eco mode, but it will not feel too sharp. Of course, sport mode में जब आप accelerator input दे देते हो, the car will be that much more eager to lunge forward and give you that extra bit of progress compared to city drive mode. So that is of course self-explanatory and you obviously know that by now. But then when you are driving this Tata Altroz out on the highway, this iTurbo variant, the steering wheel is decent. I have no problems with the weight that I feel on the steering wheel, and It is reasonably direct as well. Now I will not call it the most connected feeling, I will not call it the most feedback rich, but because it weighs up quite nicely, you can make fast-paced lane changes and you will not feel scared. Just check this out. I am over 100 kilometers per hour and the car stays balanced and it doesn't lose composure. तो जब आप इस तरीके से किसी इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन में इस गाड़ी को टर्न करना चाहते हो, इफ यू वांट टू जस्ट सडनली मेक अ लेन चेंज, ये गाड़ी जो है आपको काफ़ी अच्छे से सपोर्ट करेगी, आपके स्टीयरिंग इनपुट को काफ़ी अच्छे से रिस्पॉन्ड करेगी. जस्ट चेक दिस आउट. I am now close to 120 kilometers per hour. The engine RPM is under 3000 when I am at this speed, and making a lane change, no problem at all. And I think Tata has found the right mix of offering you good comfort and an exciting drive when you want to have some fun behind the wheel. Now when I say it has the right mix of comfort and sport, that is because the suspension setup, just like every other Tata car, it is fantastic. इंडियन सड़कों के लिए टाटा मोटर्स जो है काफ़ी बढ़िया सस्पेंशन ट्यून करते हैं एंड द Altroz iTurbo is no different. आज जब हम इसे शहरों में चला रहे थे, स्पीड ब्रेकर्स पे से इस गाड़ी को चलाते समय हमें कोई भी दिक्कत नहीं हुई एंड the weight is not too much that the suspension had to be tuned a lot, but whatever they have done it just right. खराब पैचेस पे से आप इस गाड़ी को काफ़ी आसानी से चला पाओगे. You do not have to slow down as much as you might have to on any other premium hatchback because this car just handles the broken Indian terrain fantastically. जब आप ट्रिपल डिजिट स्पीड्स पे इस गाड़ी को चला लेते हो, the car stays nice and planted on undulated highways. आपको ज़्यादा वर्टिकल मूवमेंट भी फील नहीं होती है, तो उसकी वजह से गाड़ी जो है ज़्यादा नर्वस आपको फील नहीं होगी. You as a driver, you will not feel very nervous inside this Tata Altroz iTurbo, and hence your driving experience is going to be exciting and balanced. It is not going to be super hot hatch territory, but it is not bad at all. I think that अगर आपको एक petrol powered Tata Altroz खरीदनी है, if you do not need the diesel engine, the extra efficiency and the extra torque, I would recommend that you just dump the naturally aspirated variant of the Tata Altroz and you get this instead because you get much more power, you get a much healthier torque curve when you are driving this car, and because of that this is just going to eclipse the non-turbo variant completely, and I don't think there is any sense for anyone to buy that until and unless you want a base spec Tata Altroz, and that is the only engine option that you can opt for at that price. In terms of braking feel and feedback, this car has thrown no tantrums at all. I have had a confident experience with this hatchback. I have stomped on the brakes quite a few times and the car has slowed down in typical fashion without losing its line. It has maintained its line and it is a good car to drive. Now I would have expected that the steering wheel could have felt a little more sharper and a little more responsive to my inputs. At times it feels like it takes a split second for the body to respond to what I want to do with the steering wheel, but still not a bad deal at all. अभी इसके पहले टाटा मोटर्स ने इन द हॉट हैचबैक टेरिटरी कोशिश की थी with the Tiago JTB. Now I'm not going to talk a lot about that car, and that car is now discontinued, but what I miss is blow off valves. That car got it and that was super duper addictive. I wish Tata Motors would have managed to give those blow off valves in this Altroz iTurbo, and I wish that the exhaust note on this Altroz iTurbo was a little more pronounced. जब आप ये गाड़ी तेज चला लेते हो, engine noise जो है, engine note जो है, इतनी ज़्यादा addictive नहीं है. It is not even likable. It is not too gruff. And I really like the overall NVH package जब आप इस गाड़ी को तेज चलाना चाहते हो, because as per Tata Motor standards, you will appreciate that this car does feel a little more refined in terms of NVH. But for the enthusiasts, the overall experience is nothing actually. You are not going to feel anything. You can of course get an aftermarket exhaust and then have a lot of good time for your ears. So guys, let's wrap things up. ये जो टाटा की Altroz है, it was always a good looking car and it remains a fantastic looking premium hatchback here in the Indian market. No denying that fact. On the inside, it looks even better now because it gets this dual tone upholstery which has been updated for 2021. You now get leatherette seat upholstery which is brilliant. It is just so much better than the fabric seats that Tata used to offer, that you will appreciate it, and it is also going to be easier to maintain. You can simply wipe it with a wet cloth and just forget about it. Then this new engine, this iTurbo motor, very good to drive, very easy to drive, and there is good amount of torque lower down the rev range. उसकी वजह से ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको बहुत ज्यादा पीकी परफॉर्मेंस मिल जाता है. It allows you to upshift 2000 RPM onwards and that just takes care of your city runs. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको frequent gear shift करने पड़ते हैं. Check it out. I am staying in 4th gear and I am inside Navi Mumbai right now, and it is not necessary that I keep downshifting at all times. Of course, अगर आप 5th gear में हो and if your speed is under 50 kilometers per hour, then you have to downshift. You can't use that 5th gear at low city speeds. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. The clutch action is not too hard, it is not too difficult. Of course, जो clutch travel है, it is a little on the longer side, but you will be able to make peace with it. And also you have a very generous dead pedal to rest your left foot when you are going out on highway drives. The driving position is good enough. The seats are offering me fantastic comfort and the steering wheel positioning is also quite ideal, and this leather wrapped unit fits well in my hand as well. I wish there were a little bit extra contrast elements on the inside, some extra accents on the inside to make it feel that much more sporty, but then that is personal, that is subjective to personal taste, and some people might feel they need it, some people might not actually care about it. So that's about it, guys. That's my experience with this Tata Altroz iTurbo. I really appreciate the amount of effort Tata Motors has put in to tune this engine and to make this transmission nicely with this engine. So this little badge on the tailgate is going to be the giveaway that you are following the fastest petrol variant of the Tata Altroz. This iTurbo badge is, not too big. It is not trying too hard to, please and, look too sporty, but it is nicely done and I really like it. And what I really like is this new shade of blue. Looks stunning, and the Altroz was always a good looking car और मुझे ये काफी पसंद आती है. And let's not forget, the Tata Altroz is still the only global NCAP tested 5-star rated premium hatchback here in the Indian market. So that again is a commendable feat which has been achieved by this little hatchback. कमेंट्स में आप हमें जरूर बताइए क्या लगता है आपको इस गाड़ी के बारे में. एंड विद द न्यू टर्बो पेट्रोल इंजन, डू यू थिंक दिस कार इज गोइंग टू बी गुड इनफ फॉर यू, योर फैमिली? इज दिस कार sounding exciting to you right now when you are watching this video? Are you going to go and give this car a nice test drive? And are you going to compare it with the Hyundai i20, which has now been offered to you with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic and with the turbo petrol engine? Goodbye, subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel, press the bell icon, always drive safe, always wear your seatbelts, say no to overspeeding and say no to road rage.